is 9 News Illawarra with Vanessa O'Hanlon.
Good evening, and it's a warm welcome to our Illawarra viewers who are tuning in for the first time tonight. We begin tonight with a bushfire emergency which has devastated many areas around New South Wales. On the mid-north coast, homes and farms were lost at Papenburra and Dondingalong, also in the northwest at Boggabri and in the central west region around the town of Urabri.
Warren Jarvis is a hardened country bloke, but today he's choking back tears. Picking through what remains of his home south of Urabri, there's nothing left.
All got nothing. This was it. This was my whole life. Everything I had was in there, even cats.
So what will you do now, Warren?
I sleep in the back of the van and still look after my dogs.
Urabri is a small rural community east of Dunedoo which would hardly make the map. Today, it's been all but wiped out.
Yeah, I thought it was all over. I thought that was it. Didn't think I was going to get out. Never seen anything travel as fast. I was doing 100 k's an hour going across a paddock and it was keeping up with me all right.
The Eden Bridge cattle station has been in this family for generations. The homestead is destroyed and soon they'll have to bury half their livestock.
For the family that have been living here all their life, this is absolutely horrific.
Last night, as the sun set on the fireground, the flames didn't let up. Under a moon which glowed blood red, more property, even the local church, was taken by a monster blaze. This morning, from the air, chimneys still standing, the only sign of a place a family called home. The scorched paddocks stretch for kilometres, dotted among the devastation, the homesteads, hay sheds and livestock which survived. A catastrophic day saw fires rear on 4 fronts. At Lower Papenburra, about an hour from Port Macquarie, family homes are unrecognisable. This was Tom and Millie's home as it stood yesterday morning. They had plans to retire there. Today the house and those plans are gone.
We built it ourselves, nothing salvageable, not a thing. I mean, things like fridges and washing machines just disappeared. Don't know, you wouldn't know that they were there.
Fred Rumble was one of the lucky ones. He sent his family to nearby Beechworth. Volunteer firefighters stayed and saved his home.
We were ecstatic, the wife and I, when we got back here, and we just thought, we've got a house. We've actually got it.
A close call too for Peter and Karen Hines. As the flames reached their veranda, Karen dived into a neighbour's dam.
The flames were like here and I thought, oh, it's gone, we've lost it. And I ran around there and Peter goes, just run, like keep going.
The couple say it's a miracle their home of 30 years is still standing.
It came from that road, his driveway down there, faster than you could drive. You couldn't, like 15, 20 seconds, it covered 400 or 500 metres.
At Dongdingalong, south of Kempsey, Jennifer lost a home, livestock and 2 cars.
Pretty blank at the moment, devastated.
In the state's northwest, Boggabri near Tamworth, household appliances and twisted metal is all that's left of this farmhouse. The workers who live there left it to help others.
They weren't in the house at the time, luckily, but one of them was actually fighting a fire on his parents' place down at Dunedoo, which was, he didn't have a good day yesterday.
Lizzie Pearl, 9 News.
Mass murderer Robert Z will spend the rest of his days behind bars after being given 5 life sentences for killing 5 members of Sydney's Lynn family in 2009. Z showed next to no emotion as his prison term was handed down. His wife Kathy is still proclaiming his innocence.
The Lynn grandparents choking back tears. They said at last, justice for a loving family. Robert Z will die in jail for committing one of the most violent mass murders in Australian criminal history.
The commission of a series of intentional and brutal killings of 5 members of a family, including 2 children, is a course of offending that can only be described as heinous in the extreme.
Z used a modified hammer to kill his brother-in-law, Min Lin, his wife, her sister and the Lin's 2 young boys. all because he was angry by what he thought was his lowly status in the family. Robert Z was standing just 7 or so metres from the judge when she told him he'd be spending the rest of his life in jail. His face remained blank, not a hint of emotion, just as it has been throughout the trial. The investigation broke open when forensic biologists discovered a blood stain in Z's garage. It was labelled Stain 91 and contained the DNA of 4 members of the Lynn family.
I've got no idea about this.
Z, to the end, claimed he was innocent. His wife Kathy continues to stand by the man who killed her brother and his family.
The crime he did not commit, he is a scapegoat.
Before Z was led away, Justice Fullerton paused and then spoke directly to a family relative who on Friday delivered a victim impact statement.
She described the devastating impact of the loss of her entire immediate family on every aspect of her life. I also commend her for her strength and her dignity and her courage as she faces the future without parents, siblings or a loving aunt.
When the judge finished, the woman we can only identify as AB briefly shot back with a knowing smile. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
Divisions have emerged in the federal government over a deal to swap preferences with Pauline Hanson's One Nation party ahead of the Nationals. It's angered Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce, but Malcolm Turnbull says he won't intervene.
Keep on digging. Malcolm Turnbull, before the election, tried to bury Pauline Hanson and One Nation.
Pauline Hanson is, as far as we're concerned, not a welcome presence in the on the Australian political scene.
John Howard in 1998 ordered she be last on the Liberal how to vote card.
She is fanning racist sentiment.
Desperate to cling to power, WA Liberals have done a preference deal with One Nation ahead of the Nationals at next month's election.
It's naturally disappointing. It's a matter for the West Australian division.
For Pauline Hanson, it's all about winning seats.
It's deal with the devil.
For Malcolm Turnbull, it's about needing One Nation votes in the Senate, refusing to criticise the political hand-holding.
We work very closely with the One Nation senators. We work respectfully and constructively with them. It's not a single issue party. It's not a single personality party.
It's put him at odds with Tony Abbott.
One Nation above Labor and the National Party above everyone. That would be my approach.
And Deputy PM and Nationals leader Barnaby Joyce angrily warning WA Premier Colin Barnett of the consequences.
He's flirting with the concept that ultimately will put his own side, his Liberal colleagues, in opposition.
The WA deal has angered National Party MPs. One sounded a warning to One Nation, telling me you should never trust the Liberals. Labor's ruled out any deals federally. Pauline Hanson claims it's not the case in Queensland.
Labor has approached One Nation for preferences. So don't talk about grubby deals.
Queensland Labor says One Nation approached them and they said no. Lane Calcutt, 9 News.
There's been another ram raid in the Illawarra with bandits targeting a local RSL club. The bandits smashed through glass doors, leaving plenty of damage, but left behind what they were after.
Monday morning got off to a shocking start for Sean Tobin.
A call from security at approximately 3:14 this morning to alert me to a break-in.
Arriving at the Albion Park RSL to find smashed glass and flashing police lights.
I knew it wasn't pretty.
After ramming through these 2 doors, the robbers decided to instead pop the glass out of the front entrance. One offender made a beeline for the bar as 2 others went looking for the cigarette machine.
They didn't get much at all, but they've created havoc in, as you can see.
While the alleged thieves only made off with a couple of bottles of alcohol, it's estimated they caused at least $40,000 worth of damage. The bronze Toyota was later found abandoned and burning in nearby bushland. A search for the trio continues tonight. Anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers. Rebecca Davis, 9 News.
The Mayor of Wollongong believes the planned council merger with Shell Harbour won't go ahead. The New South Wales government is expected to detail its policy on forced amalgamations tomorrow, but councils fighting mergers in courts such as Wollongong are likely to stand alone irrespective of what's announced.
Now, I think that the merger proposal could be called off and we can just get on with the business of looking after the people of Wollongong.
Discussions of the planned merger have been dragging out since 2015. Not enough parking can cause frustrations anywhere, but in Canberra, it's led to a huge sports arena being closed. Now the lengthy shutdown has become a big political issue, with the ACT opposition going on the attack.
It's big, bright, and for the past 9 months, it's been empty.
We decided that it was untenable to keep on working within this environment.
In its heyday, 3,000 people used the Empower Dome a week and parking was always in short supply. The issue came to an impasse last year when the business opted not to renew its lease and close the doors.
We wanted to grow into a further expression of the arts and entertainment. And to do that, we needed to know that we had safe and adequate parking.
This adjacent land was used as temporary overflow parking. The operators say the government asked them to build a car park and hand it back before leasing it.
The scenario where government's asking a private business to build a public car park on public land and then hand that asset over to the government and get nothing in return doesn't make business sense.
Minister for Sport Yvette Berry says she contacted the operators in August but heard nothing back.
The lease could have been offered at a peppercorn rate, which means it's basically free. But the facility needed to put in a development application so that at least that work could start.
It's not the only sports issue the opposition wants action on either.
Back in 2012, the Labor Party then announced that they would be doing a feasibility study into an indoor sporting centre for Gungahlin.
There's quite a lot of work to do into indoor sports facilities across the ACT, and we'll be starting that study very soon.
The first sitting week of the year begins tomorrow. Rosanna Kingson, 9 News.
A volunteer lifesaver has had an incredibly close encounter with a shark on the New South Wales south coast. He was on board a jet ski and was able to carefully guide it away from a popular swimming spot.
A 3-metre-long predator lurks in the mouth of the Minamurra River. About 50 people watched on as the shark stirred up shallow waters, flipping through mangroves. But the threat of the thresher shark didn't stop volunteer lifeguard Josh Douglas from keeping swimmers safe.
I could see that he wasn't well, so I wasn't too worried about him trying to do too much, but he did come back towards the ski a little bit, and as I looked down, he was coming straight at where my foot was, and I was thinking, I hope you just don't take a little lunge as you're about to go under the ski.
The Kiama Downs club captain had the situation under control, gently guiding the animal into deeper waters and out of harm's way.
The fishing boat came and assisted to get him out, and when we got further out we could see he wasn't in a good way, so they got a rope around him and towed him around the corner a little bit.
But the shark didn't survive. Its body was found washed up on Mystics Beach several hours later. The shark appeared to have been attacked by a larger animal. Sharks haven't been seen in this swimming area before. Thresher sharks are commonly found in cooler waters. But on the weekend, the spot was a haven for even more deadly creatures. On Saturday, a red-belly black snake was seen swimming across the river.
When we were cruising past, there was a few kids jumping out of a tree right near where it was heading, so we gave them the heads up.
A seal was also spotted basking off East Beach. Alana McIntyre, 9 News.
In the last 30 minutes, Australia's wonder racehorse Winx has done it again, extending her winning run to 14 straight victories, equally the record of the legendary Phar Lap. Janelle Breen now, who's live at Randwick. Very exciting news now. Anil, how did it all happen?
Oh, Vanessa, it was amazing to watch. It's a Monday afternoon, of course, a work day. More than 6,000 people turned up to see Winx resume her racing career after a spell. Her last start was in the Cox Plate last October, and she was devastating today, back to her best. Let's have a look at how she did it.
She just ambles up on the outside of Winx. Hartnell's 3 lengths away, but away goes Winx. Put pay to endless drama. Hartnell's running on, looking for second again. But here's 14 for the equine queen of the world, Winx. Great first up performance. She wins it by 2.5 to Hartnell.
So So there you go, Vanessa. She was absolutely amazing. She'll race again here at Randwick on Saturday week in the Chipping Norton Stakes, and it's on to the George Ryder at Rose Hill before racing in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes during the championships, Vanessa.
Another amazing win. Thank you, Neil. Music's biggest night of the year, the Grammys, all belong to one woman. Adele has swept the star-studded gala in Los Angeles, winning 5 awards, but the event didn't quite go her way. The singer crumbled under the pressure during a live tribute to George Michael.
The Grammys is when music gets its red carpet moment and artists get to make a statement. Singer Joy Villa took that to the extreme with a Donald Trump-inspired dress. Katy Perry was all blonde hair and feathers. Rihanna was ever the serial skin flasher. And Lady Gaga returned to her daring roots. Funny man and host James Corden rolled the open to the show, literally, and rapped his monologue.
Live it all up because this is the BAFTA with President Trump. We don't know what comes next.
But everyone was waiting for 9-time nominated Beyonce to debut her pregnant belly. And when she did, it was ethereal. In front of a visual backdrop, she was regal and dropped jaws with a gravity-defying chair stunt. Emotion flowed, though, when Adele paid tribute to the late George Michael. Unhappy with her performance, she stopped mid-song.
I'm sorry, I need to start again. I can't do it again like last year.
The reboot was perfect, though, and Hollywood was in tears. And things got better again for Adele when she beat Beyonce to Song of the Year.
Thank you for helping to create my favourite song I've ever done.
Australian act Flume won for Best Electronic Dance Album, and despite microphone issues, Lady Gaga joined Metallica rocking the stage. Bruno Mars stole the show with his tribute to Prince. And for the biggest awards like Record and Album of the Year, it was Adele versus Beyonce again. When Adele cleaned up with both, well, that made for one big love-in.
I can't possibly accept this award. My artist of my life is Beyonce, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental. Beyonce, it was so monumental.
In Hollywood, Laura Turner, 9 News.
Rugby League will farewell the ANZAC Test this year at Canberra Stadium. The ACT government has secured a deal to host Australia and New Zealand in May, with some Raiders players hoping to be in the mix in front of a home crowd.
The Kangaroos and Kiwis going head-to-head at Canberra Stadium has been locked in. On Friday, the 5th of May, during the NRL bye round, fierce rivals will line up for the last ever match of the ANZAC Test.
The last time this test was held in the ACT in 2013, we had record crowds of over 26,000 people attending, and we look forward to having those crowds attend again.
The ACT government has secured a deal before the test is cut from the Rugby League calendar next year. The big event will also feature a women's match with the Gillaroos taking on the Kiwi Ferns, along with an under-20s game. And League Ambassador Alan Tung says it's an exciting time for the sport in the Territory.
Here, the thirst for rugby league in Canberra is at an all-time high, with the Raiders doing so well.
There'll be a push for a strong showing from our Raiders here at their home stadium, with the likes of Shannon Boyd and Jordan Rapana hoping to retain their Test jerseys.
There's a few boys here that are in contention to make that Kiwis team or the Kangaroos team, so to be able to have a few players from Canberra represent both nations will be pretty cool and pretty exciting.
It was a good experience to go away for my first tour previously, so if I get another chance to play here in Canberra, it'll be unreal.
The ANZAC Test has been scrapped as of next year as part of a new NRL broadcast deal, while other international rugby league fixtures have been bumped to a window after the 2018 NRL season. Emma LaRouche, 9 News.
The Mayor of Wollongong is urging members of the public to stop illegally parking in disabled parking spaces around shopping areas in the Illawarra. 9,000 people currently hold a mobility parking scheme permit in the region. About 2,000 permits were revoked last year.
make sure that you have a legitimate permit. It goes with the person that has the disability, not with the vehicle.
Locals who illegally park in the allocated wheelchair-marked spaces will face fines of up to $650. A 3-month-old baby girl who suffered severe burns when scalding hot coffee was spilt onto her legs has avoided surgery thanks to the actions of a few quick-thinking bystanders. The girl's mother has praised those who came to her aid and says it highlights the importance of first aid training.
Bright-eyed baby and mum all smiles. A radical change after a parent's worst nightmare.
Ellie's 3 months old and I was watching her skin peel off before my eyes while we held her under a tap.
The family were enjoying an Australia Day breakfast when hot coffee was accidentally spilled onto the baby's leg.
Well, her skin blistered instantly, so this was a scalding cup of hot water.
Fortunately for Lauren, Sharon was standing nearby and knew exactly what to do.
And I knew, having completed my St John first aid training, that we would need to keep water on that wound for at least 20 minutes.
Luckily, there was a tap nearby and St John's ambulance volunteers were on hand to help. Thanks to Sharon's quick reaction and the treatment given by the first aiders, baby Ellie won't require skin grafts. Their efforts recognised in an award ceremony in Canberra.
It could have taken us a bit longer to get there, and the fact that she had immediate first aid was what has resulted in such a good outcome.
Sharon says without first aid training like this, she might not have known what to do, and the results could have been devastating.
It doesn't matter, who you are. Everyone can do this St John training, and you never know when you're going to be caught in a circumstance like that.
It's great to have members of the public out there who have first aid training and know what to do.
Little Ellie is expected to make a full recovery. Harry Frost, 9 News.
Coming up in the news ahead, radio host Alan Jones back behind the mic. Hollywood's finest braved the London cold for the BAFTAs, and it's back to school for the Dragons. It's faced court in Wollongong after allegedly attacking a woman with a hammer. A 24-year-old woman was found suffering with head injuries outside a unit block in Wollongong overnight. A 27-year-old man was arrested at the scene. He was refused bail today and will reappear in court again next week. As we go to air tonight, at least 130,000 people are being evacuated amid fears part of America's tallest dam could collapse. Water has begun flowing over the sides of an emergency spillway at Lake Oroville Dam in California. Authorities say the structure could give way at any moment, unleashing devastating floodwaters. Meanwhile, powerful flash flooding has swept away vehicles across the state. Emergency services have been working desperately to rescue those trapped in their cars. A Sydney dentist has been banned from practising after putting hundreds of people at risk of infections, including HIV and hepatitis. Robert Starkenberg's inability to meet basic hygiene standards landed him in hot water in 2014, but he did not learn his lesson.
He's been under the spotlight for almost 3 years, but finally Robert Starkenberg's days as a dentist are over. He declined to comment today, but in the past he's denied he put patients at risk. He did, though, admit he struggled with hygiene standards.
I'm slack. Everybody's getting more and more high-tech, and I was trying to keep it simple.
After being suspended in 2014, Dr Starkenberg returned to work in March last year at his Bondi Junction and Surrey Hills practices, but again fell foul of inspectors. Now a tribunal has cancelled his registration. Among his failures in infection control, Dr Starkenberg was found to not have appropriate procedures for surface cleaning and decontamination between patients. He didn't maintain separate clean and contaminated zones or ensure instruments were sterile. He didn't have adequate cleaning aids or facilities. And he didn't have properly tested and calibrated critical sterilisation equipment such as an ultrasonic cleaner or autoclave. As far back as 2 years ago, New South Wales Health tried to contact up to 800 of Dr Starkenberg's patients so they could be checked for blood-borne viruses. It was a process made more difficult, if not impossible, because his patient records were incomplete. It's unclear how many of those patients are still to be contacted. Eddie Meyer, 9 News.
Convicted conman Peter Foster has been extradited from Queensland to face new fraud charges in New South Wales. The 54-year-old has been charged with 7 counts of fraud totalling more than $1.5 million relating to his alleged role in a 2013 sports betting scam. A security scare at Hamburg Airport in Germany with the evacuation of dozens of passengers suffering breathing difficulties. Around 50 people were overcome by the release of what was described as an irritable gas. Authorities later said it was pepper spray let off by a prankster and not linked to terrorism. Australia's talkback radio king has finally announced when he's returning to the airwaves. Alan Jones has been off the scene since November, undergoing a series of gruelling operations, but says he'll be back in 3 weeks' time.
The man back behind the mic, Sydney's undisputed king of the airwaves, doing what he does best.
I'm in one piece. I'm not going to the crematorium, that's why I've come in.
Alan Jones dropped by Radio 2GB this morning to announce he's here to stay.
I walked in, I don't have a stick. And my shoulders are back and here I am in business. Sing-o, I'm in business.
After enduring various bouts of ill health in recent years, including cancer, a crippling back and nerve complaint left the broadcaster in agony for much of last year. But 4 operations in the past 3 months appear to have finally fixed a rather large pain in the neck.
I've still got the pain and I've still got the wound pain, so I go back to hospital after this and just take my time.
With radio ratings and advertising revenue on the line, mate of 30 years Ray Hadley is only too happy to set a 2 a.m. alarm clock and pull an extra on-air shift.
Finally got a real job. A real job. I'm working 5.5 hours a day, they tell me. I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for him. I mean, it's not sycophantic, it's a fact of life. If he's not number one, I'm not number one.
While 2GB's loyal listeners are all eager for Alan Jones to return to the microphone on a permanent basis, executives and staff here at the station say he can take as long as he likes to ensure he makes a full recovery.
And in 3 weeks' time, there's no shortage of issues he's eager to address.
About greyhounds racing, about council, about lockout laws, about, coal mines. I give Berejiklian 11 out of 10. Some of the stuff in Canberra, some of the stuff about Trump. I'm delighted that I'll be given a chance to have a say.
Tim Davies, 9 News.
Ahead in the news, the beginning of the end for Parramatta Stadium and a first look at what lies ahead. No winners. A young driver apologises for killing his 3 mates in a car crash. And defying the London chill, Nicole Kidman and the Duchess of Cambridge light up the red carpet at the BAFTAs.
Season of change.
Oh dear. Of Parramatta Rugby League star Semi Radradra has told a court how he pushed her into a wall, leaving her unconscious. The player is charged with 2 counts of common assault. He's pleaded not guilty.
On the football field, Semi Radradra is a force to be reckoned with. But today, in a courtroom, a former girlfriend said she allegedly feared his strength and power. Parina Ting claims she was twice assaulted by the NRL star. The first time in November 2014, 2 weeks after the birth of their daughter. He punched me on the right cheek, she said. I was shocked. There was a bruise on my face. 6 months later, shoved her against the wall, leaving her unconscious. I don't know what happened until I woke up, she said. He was standing in front of me with a cup of water. She told the court that after the first incident, Radradra confessed to his religious pastor, allegedly saying, I used my hands on her. Parina Ting says she was constantly in fear of Radradra and only felt safe about going to the police 14 months later when she found out the footballer had travelled to Fiji. Radradra was arrested on his return to Sydney and has pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of domestic assault. The court was told that after the couple broke up in February last year, Miss Ting bombarded Radradra with abusive and threatening texts. You're a liar, cheater, womaniser, busted human being, stupid father. I'm going to expose you, and you're going to be the next headline for the Eels. Under cross-examination, Raradra's lawyer put it to Miss Ting, not once in all those texts did you say he'd been violent towards you. No, I didn't. This afternoon, the hearing was adjourned until May 2, ensuring the winger will at least be able to start the season with the Eels. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
Police are appealing to the public after a man went missing from South Nowra. 19-year-old Ryan Lynn was last seen leaving his home on Hillcrest Avenue at around midday yesterday. He failed to return home and his family have been unable to contact him. A young P-plater has pleaded guilty to dangerous driving over a crash that killed 3 of his friends. The group was on their way home from a music festival in the Blue Mountains when their car spun out of control.
A shattered son sheltered by his supportive family, leaving Penrith District Court. Moments earlier, Jordan Duffy pleaded guilty to 3 counts of dangerous driving causing death. Sitting just metres away and sobbing as he whispered the words, the mothers of Luke Shanahan, Lachlan Burley and Ben Sawyer, all 3 teenagers killed in the horror smash.
Do you have a message to the families of the deceased?
I'm sorry, I just can't apologise enough for what this has all done to everyone.
The now 21-year-old had been returning from the Safari Music Festival at Illawarra when he spun out of control and collided Bell's line of road at Bulletin. Everything then happened very quickly and in a blur. I heard a bang and then the next thing I remember is the vehicle being on its side. The 3 Northern Beaches boys, asleep in the back seat, died at the scene. Also seriously injured, 84-year-old Barbara McLaren. She's never fully recovered.
Jordan Brown told police he'd consumed ecstasy 2 days prior to the crash, but toxicology reports suggest otherwise. Because of the high level of drugs in his blood, experts suggest a use of MDMA in the early morning hours leading up to the accident.
As Brown only entered a plea on the first day of his trial, he's now staring down the barrel of a significantly tougher sentence. Early Walsh, 9 News.
Australian film Lion has clinched several wins at the BAFTA Awards in London. The acclaimed movie saw a Best Supporting Actor prize for star Dev Patel. Nicole Kidman, however, missed out in the Best Supporting Actress category.
I'm just glad to be here, really glad that the film has connected in such a big way with people and just happy to be representing the film here in London.
But it wasn't just Hollywood royalty invited to attend. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge were also among those to tread the red carpet. Coming up in 9 News, from a racecourse to a courtroom, the top jockey accused of reckless riding. And you've been trumped, the picture editor who should have been a little more careful.
Season of change.
Oh dear.
Got an eyeful, did you?
Australian jockey Josh Cartwright has been banned from racing for 18 months after an incident of reckless riding. He rode his horse across the track and into 2 other horses in the closing stages of a race in Adelaide last month, which was won by his girlfriend. Stewart's describing his act as the worst scene in Australia. More than $3 million worth of rare antique books have been stolen during a daring heist at a warehouse in London. It's understood the gang cut through the skylights, abseiled into buildings, avoiding motion sensors before making off with their haul. A newspaper in the Dominican Republic has apologised for this embarrassing gaffe, mistakenly using a photo of Saturday Night Live star Alec Baldwin impersonating Donald Trump rather than a picture of the president himself. Trump has repeatedly lashed out over his portrayal on the sketch show, saying it stinks. Demolition work has begun on the home of some of Sydney's greatest sporting contests. 9 News has been given exclusive access as Parramatta Stadium is being pulled down to be replaced by a brand new one costing $300 million.
The home of Western Sydney sport is slowly being picked apart.
There's been a lot of great memories for Parramatta fans. It's been a great home ground venue for Parramatta, but looking ahead is really the exciting part.
They're making short work of the famous ground on O'Connell Street, stripping it and preparing the grandstands for the wrecking ball.
We're taking the old stadium down and replacing it with a brand new one and the best sporting fan experience anywhere in the country.
This is what is just around the corner. A $300 million, 30,000 seat venue.
This is going to create jobs, 1,200 jobs as we build it. But what I'm really excited about is the 800 to 1,000 ongoing jobs.
Passionate fans from both clubs grabbed their bit before the bulldozers rolled in. while sports clubs as far away as Moree and Wagga have been gifted thousands of seats to use at their own grounds.
We've reused a lot of the material that's been put to great use over many a year here at Parramatta.
The stadium today looks very different to when it opened in 1986, built as the home to the all-conquering Eels team.
Young. Oh, intercepted by Brett Kenny!
But the blue and gold now have neighbours who are red and black. And both clubs have very high expectations. Demolition will take a few months to complete, meaning the entire stadium will be levelled by the middle of the year. That's when work will start on the new one, and they're hoping to have it ready by the 2019 NRL season.
You very rarely see bad games in full stadiums with great atmosphere, and that's what we're going to have here. So for both the fans and the players, I think it'll be the best game day experience in Australia.
Chris O'Keefe, 9 News.
Mike Lorigan is next with Sport. Mike, the Dragons are fired up.
They certainly don't like being written off, Vanessa. Coming up, Dragons recruit Cameron McInnes seeing red and tells the critics where to go ahead of the Charity Shield. And who will fill the void left by injured Raiders captain Jared Croker?
Greatest masterpiece.
The Dragons have rubbished claims they'll be at the bottom of the ladder at the end of the season, with new recruit Cameron McInnes declaring they'll prove the critics wrong. The Red V is coming off a 10-point pre-season win against the Tigers, and there's plenty of confidence ahead of this weekend's Charity Shield. Some time away from the footy field for the Dragons at Shell Cove Public School on the New South Wales South Coast. The crowd had their undivided attention.
We're here this afternoon to talk about respect.
Hooker Cameron McInnes sporting some fresh stitches today. The claret was certainly flowing on Saturday night.
I don't know what's going on. I've got split the last couple of weeks, so yeah, I don't know what's happening, but I need to sort it out.
Scottish international Ewan Aitken will stay a Dragon until the end of 2020 after signing a new 3-year deal.
Worried about this year, obviously first. I think we're going to go a lot better than we did last year this year, so I'm worried about that now and hopefully a good season to come.
A Dragons junior, the centre has played 45 first-grade games in the set on the game's greatest stage.
Next couple of years I really want to push for an Origin spot, that's for sure. I think I can get there if I keep working hard.
And after a solid 10-point victory against the Tigers on Saturday, this weekend's Charity Shield against South Sydney, a final dress rehearsal ahead of the season opener, a season which has some critics casting dire predictions.
As far as wooden spoon, predictions, I reckon that's rubbish, to be honest, but, we'll just prove all those, critics wrong.
The Raiders are confident other leaders will step up, with Jared Croker sidelined for at least 6 weeks after suffering a serious knee injury in the NRL All-Stars clash on Friday night. It's a huge blow to the Green Machine, but teammates say they're confident the side will fill the void.
We've got a lot of depth here at the club, so entirely up to Ricky what he's going to do.
I dare say it'll be Hodjo or Sia that'll probably be captain for the first couple of weeks, but until Toots is back.
Take on the Knights in a trial match at Queanbeyan this weekend. To football now, and reigning champions Leicester City's horror season draw with Burnley. And in golf now, Jordan Spieth has struck again, taking out his 9th PGA Tour title at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. The 23-year-old closed out the tournament with a 2-under-70 to win by 4 strokes over Kelly Craft. Aussie Jason Day finished tied for 5th. The Illawarra Hawks will head into the finals with plenty of confidence after demolishing wooden spooners the Brisbane Bullets on the weekend. The Illawarra is looking for its 2nd NBL championship, their first coming 16 years ago in 2001.
Relaxed and reserved, the Hawks winding down at training today after taking flight during Saturday night's must-win against the Brisbane Bullets. The boys from Wollongong were clinical during their 29-point trumping of last-place Brisbane.
Taken here by Conrad, he stuffs it.
Captain Oscar Foreman dominating from long range, shooting 8 threes for the game.
Oscar Foreman,
it was raining cheeseburgers at the entertainment centre with a little over 2 minutes to play. Rodney Clark launching the Hawks into triple digits and into
the team that was in last have nothing to lose. We knew it was going to be a tough game, and I think mentally we came out the right way, and that went a long way to helping us win.
Day to play the first place 36ers, and they certainly don't feel like underdogs, heading into the 3-game final series, having beat them in 3 out of their 4 season fixtures.
Yeah, it is, but they're the number 1 team in the league for a reason, so it's really tough to go in there and play, so we're looking forward to that as a challenge, and it's win or go home, really.
The Hawks will return to the Entertainment Centre on Sunday at 3 p.m. James Wilson, 9 News.
The Illawarra Cutters will be looking to get their pre-season back on track against the Bulldogs on Saturday after going down to the Wangaroos 38 points to 26 in Wollongong on Saturday night. 18-year-old Tristan Saylor, the son of Dragons great Wendell Saylor, stepped aside and onto the score sheet late into the game, while Rob Basrou was a standout for the Cutters with 2 tries. Their match with Canterbury will be their last trial before round 1 kicks off. Now that's it for sport tonight. Coming up after the break, Gavin Morris has all your local weather details.
Our travel guides take off for their here.
There you go. Oh, you got little hands.
And what one not love.
See any penises today?
New travel guides starts tonight after.
To finance, markets closed higher. The All Ords up 41 points. Our dollar is steady, buying 76.68 US cents. Now Gavin Morris joins us with a look at the weather. And Gav, it's nice to have some normality returning to the region.
Thank you, Vanessa. It certainly is. We've got some lovely relief on our hands, but it's going to be short-lived. The heat is going to roll back in. The good news, though, it won't be as severe as what we experienced across the weekend. Cooler temperatures across the board at the moment, and we picked up a little bit of rain. The falls generally light, 1 to 5 millimetres throughout the southeast corner of New South Wales and the ACT, generally 1 or 2 millimetres. All of the big falls continue across the northern tropics and in the west. Record-breaking summer rain continues throughout those regions, breaking up during today. Some big storms across the northern tropics, a few storms around northern New South Wales and southern Queensland this afternoon. That is the cooler air finally clearing the heat across New South Wales and into southern Queensland. Nice to see some speckled cloud formation on the satellite. That signifies cool air. We haven't had much of that at all so far this season. Taking a look at the synoptic chart for tomorrow, it's a big high sliding across the southeast, generating a southeasterly influence along the entire coast. The better falls are going to be further north, clearing locally tomorrow morning. The storms continue across the tropics as it all eases in the west, but overcast and cooler for Perth. Adelaide fairly comfortable, still hot in the centre. Very cool right throughout the southeast, and for Sydney enjoying some relief as well. And Brisbane also expected to remain in the 20s for tomorrow. On the thermos scale and the forecast winds, the southerlies bending around to the southeast, and that's forced back that big pool of heat. Good news, you can see cooling down nicely again tomorrow night across the Alpine districts and the tablelands and the coast as well. Now we're going to see some morning drizzle patches and showers, all of that mostly clearing, burning off to the north. This is mostly cumulus cloud formation further south, so it is going to be predominantly fine right throughout the Alpine areas, over the Monaro, the tablelands, along the coast. Temperatures only in the low to mid-20s, partly cloudy skies, all fine off to the south coast. All of that shower activity is for the morning session burning off. Locally throughout the ACT, a much cooler night on the way, down to about 12 degrees, looking fairly comfortable, maxing out in the high 20s. Some big waves are on the way for board riders tomorrow. It is going to be chunky, some strong wind warnings still in place, up to 3 metres. Southern point breaks for surfers, taking that on. You've got a high tide at about 11:30, so the low there at 5:15 tomorrow morning. Sun will be up at 6:30 and down just before 8. Looking ahead for Canberra, there's the heat back into the mid-30s. At least it's not into the 40s. Then we've got a decent system coming through. This one is set to produce some decent rain across much of New South Wales, so hopefully that one will come off. We'll keep an eye on that as the week rolls on. Similar forecast for the tablelands, heating up, and the change comes through, which could affect the weekend forecast along the coast. Cooler southeasterly winds, heating up, sun's out in full force on Thursday and Friday, and then the change pushing through for the up and coming weekend. Nice and cool for the south coast as well, but back up and over 30 degrees in the coming days. So enjoy the cooler conditions, because there is some heat set to return across the region in the coming days.
Thanks, Gav. We'll sleep well tonight. And that's 9 News for this Monday. I'm Vanessa Hanlon. Good night.